A new study takes a look at birth defects in two of the hardest hit cities during the Iraq War, including Fallujah in central Iraq and Basra in the southeastern region of the country. The study from the Bulletin of Environmental Contamination and Toxicology takes a close look at birth defects at hospitals in these cities over the span of a decade. And the findings are disturbing, to say the least. This chart takes a look at the percentage of birth defects for patients at Fallujah General Hospital between 1991 and 2010. As you can see, birth defects skyrocketed between 2004 and 2006. It was in April of 2004 that U.S. Marines first bombarded the city, and as time goes on, the number of babies being born with congenital defects continues to rise significantly. And according to this study, between 2007 and 2010, nearly 60% of all babies recorded had birth defects. And it looks like there is a link between the time military assaults began and the number of babies that are miscarried. It's during this time that the number of miscarriages rises drastically. 45% of pregnancies end in miscarriage. These scientists also took hair samples from children with birth defects in 56 Fallujah families. And what they found is that the toxic chemicals mercury and lead were found to be 5 times higher in these children. And the effects are devastating. You are looking at babies born with severe birth defects in the Fallujah General Hospital between May and August 2010. The most common abnormalities include congenital heart defects, neural tube defects, and facial clefting. Now, this study is just one of many that links military assaults to the prevalence of birth defects. Toxic metals like mercury, lead, and depleted uranium are used in bullets and bombs, and pregnant mothers and their unborn babies are especially prone to toxic chemicals and pollution. And during the U.S. Army's 3-week bombardment of Fallujah, Marines used Hellfire missiles and 2,000-pound bombs, in addition to what the Pentagon classifies as chemical weapons. These are tanks loaded with depleted uranium and phosphorus bombs. White phosphorus was the same weapon Saddam Hussein used against the Kurds in February of 1991, one of the many reasons the United States used to justify their invasion of Iraq. So what does the Department of Defense have to say about this? A spokesperson told RT, quote, "We are not aware of any official reports indicating an increase in birth defects at al-Basra or Fallujah that may be related to exposure to the metals contained in munitions used by the U.S. or coalition partners. We always take very seriously public health concerns about any population now living in a combat theater. Unexploded ordnance, including improvised explosive devices, are a recognized hazard." In other words, at this point, the Pentagon doesn't see lead, mercury, or depleted uranium as recognized hazards. In about a month, the World Health Organization is set to release its long-awaited study on the lingering health effects in Iraq. And it's expected their findings will make the same link, that exposure to toxic metals, a result of repeated bombings, has not just ravaged the country's cities, but its future generations' bodies as well. In Washington, Liz Wall, RT.